and delighted that Isabel, who's the other party of the dynamic Copenhagen duo, actually came in and helped us. But first off, we found a bug. And this bug is actually my responsibility. I am very sorry about that. Those of you who know anything about my country's colors will know why this is a bug. Basically, we screwed up the naming of the rooms. So if I could get all of you to take out your program and find a pen. I'm serious. Take out your program and find a pen. Then you're gonna write, as we put it here, 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, and 20. That is actually the actual room numbers. So, because this morning the information booth got kind of overrun with people who could not find anything, and again, this is very much my responsibility, and I'm still very sorry about that. My better part over here as well have only screamed at me once, and I was glad for that. So if we got that off, I would pass the mic to Isabel.
Alright, so for all of you that would like to ask some questions for Zi6's keynote, we have the hashtag DC Keynote on Twitter. So we have someone following this and doing the Q&A afterwards. Then the general hashtag is DrupalCon, as all of you probably know on Twitter. And for Flickr photos, please put DrupalCon CPH. And there's also a Flickr group, so a lot of people take pictures, so please put it up there. Then we have the traditional group photo, which is after the keynote, so we're gonna have a couple of announcements afterwards, so please do not move, stay in here, be pretty, wait and sit until the last minute. Alright? Yes, that's also in German, so stay here. Then we have, cars. There are 2 cars blocking the entrance. Well, they're blocking something, we don't really know, and we're just announcing it, so please move it, whoever has these 2 cars up there. So, don't go now, do it after the keynote. And we have someone very special here. And yes, if all of you wondered, there is a name behind the girlfriend. And she's actually here as well, so the girlfriend does exist. And just to finish off, we're going to introduce user ID 1. All of you know them, and have fun, enjoy, and thank you very much.
Presentations. Right, I'm obviously very excited to be here. Nice to have all of you here at the conference this time. So when I started work on my presentation, it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of stuff to talk about. We just did DrupalCon San Francisco about 5 months ago, and so I felt like Drupal 7 isn't released, the redesign isn't launched. What is it that I'm going to talk about? And so as I thought more about my presentation, I actually started to realize that actually this is a good time to talk, because as soon as Drupal 7 is released and as soon as the redesign launches, things might change. Drupal might start to grow, and we better be ready. We better be prepared for that. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Before I start, I want to show this, it's my wife's birthday today. And if you can, try sending her an email today, because somehow I've been able to miss almost all of our birthdays and all of our wedding anniversaries because of DrupalCons. So this is my one-time chance to make up for that. So anyway, so let's get started. So before I start, I wanted to recap a little bit about the things that I said in San Francisco and give you some of the data that I shared back then, 5 months ago. So one of the things that I said is that the elephants were coming and that we should get ready to dance with them. And I wanted to repeat that slide because it felt like that was a slide which sort of struck home. Like a lot of people seemed to repeat that message, and in talking to people, a lot of people also wanted to talk about that. So I wanted to give you a quick update on this because I do think this has come true. So, for example, Capgemini recently announced a new program called Capgemini Immediate, and it's essentially, and so for those that don't know Capgemini, it's one of the largest consulting firms in the world, frankly, with 95,000 employees. And so their offering is essentially a packaged offering of different components of which Drupal is a part, but also things like Salesforce and a couple of other things. And they use that to help organizations to build their online services and presence, essentially. And they just sign up a major client, which is Royal Mail, which is, it's like the mail service in the UK. And they're one of the largest employers in the UK with 200,000 employees that they have. And so they're using Drupal and these other technologies to change, pretty much all of their services. So it's a pretty big deal, for Drupal if that, once that gets rolling. And I think it's a great example of how those large organizations are starting to take note of Drupal. That's just one example. There's a couple of more examples, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the last 2 weeks. I spent a fair amount of traveling to different cities. I went to Atlanta, I went to DC, I went to New York, I was in Boston, obviously, as well. And I spoke to a lot of large enterprises as well as attended local meetups. So, spoke to a lot of people, and I just wanted to give you a flavor of the things that I ran into. And I think these kinds of trips are useful because it allows me to, learn those things. I wanted to, to sort of pass on that message, the things that I learned. So one of the organizations that I met with is Turner Broadcasting. For those people that don't know them, they're a subsidiary of Time Warner. They're one of the largest publishing or media companies in the US. And just to give you a sense, they own CNN, they own Cartoon Network, they own NBA.com.